This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, nerds. I'm Mark Weber, and you are listening to A Graphic Conversation, the bi-weekly podcast where we read, discuss, and review the best, and hopefully not the worst, in graphic novels. And I am joined, as I always am, by good friend and fellow man-child, Ricky Widmer.
What's up, Nerd Nation?
And this time we read Age of Ultron. Because, you know, there's a certain special Avengers movie coming out called Age of Ultron, so why not?
And there's a new clip that came out where...
well, it's been out for a couple weeks.
Yeah, and it threw me off when I first saw it because I never heard Spader's voice until then. Mm-hmm. It caught me off guard that Ultron sounds like human.
Yeah, it is weird.
He's a robot, but don't tell him that because it's an AI.
Don't tell who? I don't think we know who this guy is yet.
Hank.
Who?
Are you kidding me?
I'm making a movie reference because he's not introduced
he's not
yet.
in the universe. Ha ha ha! I get it, Mark.
I don't. Out of order, Marvel. But anyways, for those of you who don't know what a graphic conversation is, maybe this is your first time listening, or you just have been listening all this time and not paying any attention. What we do, like I said, read, discuss, review graphic novels every other week. We have a spoiler-free section, which is what we are in right now. But don't worry, we will warn you before we cross that bridge into the spoiler territory. So if you want to read Age of Ultron, you can press pause, read it, come back. We will be here for you. But if you're thinking, I'm not sure if I want to read this, I mean, I don't know why you don't want to read Avengers, but let me just give you a little description of this one. For years, the Marvel Universe has lived in fear that the artificial intelligence known as Ultron would one day evolve to fulfill its greatest desire, to wipe out all organic life and take over the Earth. That day has arrived. The impossible has happened, and Ultron rules the planet. And as few superhero survivors remain, they have to try desperately in order to stay alive. Luke Cage learns that the staggering secret of Ultron's victory. And a near-broken Captain America leads the ragtag counterattack, while Wolverine makes a controversial and desperate decision. This creates an all-new Marvel Universe. But can even this rash act defeat Ultron? The events of the year have arrived. That's actually pretty spoiler heavy of a description.
Yeah, it kind of tells you everything.
It kind of does not. Yeah, this is like one of those trailers that you see and all the funny moments were in the trailer.
I guess it doesn't show you the huge... I'm going to fucking hang it out there for you. It doesn't show the huge curveball that it throws you at the end.
Yeah. There's a big ending.
The
here,
huge
big moment.
just curveball, and it just drops.
And we'll get off this in a second for those of you who haven't read it. But wouldn't it be great if that was the post-credit thing? So everyone can share the, what?
What?
Okay.
What is that thing?
Anyways, to get off of that. So, okay.
We'll feed you baby birds, don't worry.
Age of Ultron. And, you know, those of you may be thinking, guys, you really... Well, you know what? I'll wait for that. We'll wait till we get into spoiler mode.
Okay.
We'll wait until we get
I don't know where you're
spoiler mode for all
going
this
with that, Mark,
conversation.
but okay.
So, Ricky, what were your expectations coming into Age of Ultron, relating to the movie maybe, but especially the graphic novel?
I'm going to say this. It's Age of Ultron split up into 10 books, 11 if you count the little, I think it's a preface kind of thing at the beginning.
Well, we should also say there are two different versions of this. There's a complete edition. We did not read the complete edition. It just gives you a little bit of extra about some of the side characters, basically. It's not necessary, but if you're really into it, it could enhance your entertainment.
This one started with Avengers 12.1 and then went through Age of Ultron 1 through 10. So it was the core. Right after I read Avengers 12.1, it came from outer space. Night, that's what it's called. As soon as I read that, I'm like, this is going to be nothing like the movie. It's going to be one of the... Where it's like, for example, if you listen to our Man Without Fear, our Daredevil one, and then watched Daredevil on Netflix, some liberties, but almost a carbon copy.
Yeah, it's very, very, very similar.
Whereas this one, I'm like, the movie's gonna, nope, nothing.
No, you get into the very beginning, you're like, nope, it's not right.
Not gonna be the same at all.
Which is cool. You know, I mean, we gotta admit that anything that doesn't have Hugh Jackman in it needs Hugh Jackman in it. So Wolverine not being in the Marvel Universe movies,
He needs to. I mean,
my heart's breaking.
I feel like Marvel. This is with movie wise.
Mm-hmm.
They took a step forward by getting it done with Sony and saying, "Hey, we got to have Spider-Man in these movies."
But now
they got to do the same for Wolverine now.
But now who cares? Because there's no Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman's done. He's got one last X-Men movie.
You can have another Wolverine.
I have had Hugh Jackman. I will never have anybody else.
It's like Spider-Man. They didn't take Garfield over.
Ricky.
They said, we want a new Spider-Man.
Once you go Hugh, you don't go back. Okay? And I don't think we can compare the greatness that is Hugh Jackman with Andrew Garfield. Who I like Andrew Garfield, and I liked his.
Is it kind of like where Tony Stark will always be Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah, imagine being the guy who has to replace Robert Downey Jr. You can't do it. It can't be done. You know, some of these guys, Chris Evans, it can be replaced. Like, he can be replaced. I forgot the name of whoever is Thor. That's a tough one. But
Helmsworth?
Yeah, Chris Helmsworth. But if you had to replace like Scarlett Johansson, like that's fine. That's not going to be that difficult to do. Or whoever plays, I was going to say, or whoever plays Hawkeye, whoever that guy might be. Yeah, it's not that hard to do. Yeah, but I mean, my expectations were pretty similar. I wasn't sure. Well, actually, from just the description, I knew it was going to be different than the movie. But a little surprised about. I mean, these are going to be two completely different things at this point. They're not related. I mean, we'll have the same probably discussion when we get to Civil War next year. But
I don't think this is a spoiler thing because I mean, this is just like what the mythology,
the man, the myth, the legend
of just Avengers and Marvel. Where I did find it interesting that originally I thought, and this is more for the movie, but relating it to the comic, where in the comic it's Ant-Man who created Ultron.
Yes.
Whereas in the movie, they're doing it was Tony Stark that created it. I'm sitting there going, okay, come on. Ant-Man's your next movie, right? Mm-hmm. This is Ultron's your piece to bridge Ant-Man into it.
Yeah, you would think so. That's what would make sense. Especially it would be so easy to just be like, hey, you guys know Tony Stark's a genius, or Tony Stark. You know, he's a genius. But, hey, here's this other smart guy, too. Mm-hmm. And, by the way, he also has a thing that makes him really big, really small. So that's cool. Like, that would make sense. It'd be easy to do. I don't think it would be past anyone to go, hold on a second. Who's this Ant-Man guy? Who is Hank? I don't quite get it. Yeah, I don't think that would be necessary. But, I mean, it's fine, whatever. He's not in it. I guess whatever.
Well, and, I mean, the only thing that, I mean, would be kind of tricky where it wouldn't be actual Ant-Man. Mm-hmm. That is... Because how they're doing the Ant-Man movie is Paul Rudd is playing Scott Lang, where if you're like, Ricky, that name means nothing to me, you have to explain it to me. Mm-hmm. He was the second to take on the Ant-Man role, where it was originally Hank Pym, and he created it, whereas Scott Lang, he was a thief, he was an electronics expert, he took over the mantle of Ant-Man after Pym.
Yeah.
That's going to be Paul Rudd. He's the main of the Ant-Man movie, where Michael Douglas is going to be playing Hank Pym. Where I feel like they could have used Douglas in the Avengers and still had Ultron created by Ant-Man.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense. And, of course, you know, it's early right now. The movie's... Well, you might be listening to it and the movie's out, but you probably aren't.
Can I hit a sidebar here?
Sure.
Do you know who's playing the villain for Ant-Man?
I don't.
Russo from House of Cards.
Oh, nice.
Senator Russo.
But, so yeah, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. It might make perfect sense, and we're like, man, we like it better this way. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, so, Ricky, who should read Age of Ultron?
If you love Marvel, you love the Avengers, this is a story for you. I feel like anybody who likes Marvel can read this.
And especially because, I mean, there's so pretty much
Everyone's in
Everybody, yeah, exactly. Well, except for Daredevil.
Spider-Man.
Everybody's in it.
Spider-Man. It's all the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Cap, Fury.
Well, we made the joke earlier because we were talking about Daredevil that Daredevil misses out on all these big moments, all the crossover events and stuff. Daredevil's never involved. Poor Daredevil.
Too busy cleaning up Hell's Kitchen, man.
He's too busy with his TV show. Maybe if he stops with that TV show, he can show up for Age of Ultron.
Hey, man, he's too busy cleaning up Hell's Kitchen.
You think, though, I mean, the timing doesn't work well, but after the popularity that is the Netflix Daredevil show, that Marvel might be thinking, oh, man, if only we threw Daredevil in this movie, too. I didn't know it was going to be so popular. Who wants to see the blind guy fight crime? Everybody, because it's awesome. If you haven't seen Daredevil yet, get a Netflix subscription now and do it. Bummer with that, though, that there's not a DVD version of it. You have to watch it instant. I mean, that's the same way with House of Cards and like Orange is the New Black and stuff, but you have to watch it instant.
Yeah.
Because I had somebody who was like, oh, can you order the DVDs for me? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. Oh, wait, no, I can't. Sorry about that. So with that being said, start a free trial if you have to and just cancel it out. It's that good. Ricky, anything else that we need to say before we move on into spoiler territory?
Not really. I mean, this is like, it's not a drudgingly long read. It's a quick read. The story flies by. It's kind of interesting, even though a little spoilery here. And no, actually, it's not, because the description kind of said it. We're going to get a time loop here. We're going to get that going.
Not a time loop. It's not a time loop.
Almost.
It's not a time loop.
We're messing with time again.
There's
How
weird
many
time
graphic
things going.
novels on this podcast
We have
read
created
that
a alternate universe.
How many
this one.
podcasts have we done?
Well, that's what I was going to get into in spoiler territory.
We're in some. Well, let's talk about it right now. How many,
Hold on. Pause. Those of you who want to read this, press pause now. We're about to enter spoiler territory. All right, Ricky, go ahead, take it away.
How many comics have we read that we've either created an alternate timeline, there's a time loop, we're messing with going back in time,
or the entire thing is just a giant circle?
Or the entire thing is an entire circle. I feel like I was reading this and it didn't hit me until the end, where I'm like, how many of these things have we read where we're like going back in time?
I actually felt the same way, and even adding to it a little bit. How many of these big, like, doomsday-ish events have we had? And I'll throw Red Sun in there, too, because Superman basically kills everybody. Or enslaves them. Whatever. Same thing. But, yeah, we have all of these type of different big moments here. Which actually led me to a question that I was curious about. And this isn't getting to, like, the scores yet. I mean, people can go in the past and look up what all our scores were for various things. But, Ricky, just right now, as it stands, of all these time loopy, cataclysmic event type of stories we've read, which one are your favorites? Like, which one did you just like the most?
This one.
Really, this one?
I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, we'll get to it. The end was a huge curveball.
Yeah.
Morning Glories is my favorite, but that's kind of an entire series type thing.
Oh, and it's, entire series for an entire circle.
Yeah, Red Sun wasn't my favorite. This one, the reason why I don't think it was so bad was because it creates that moral dilemma. It creates, because now that we're in spoiler territory, I can bring it up, where basically Wolverine decides, while everyone goes off into the future to try to combat Ultron, he goes, you know what? I'm going to the source of the problem. I'm going to go to Hank, and you know what? Tony was right. I can't just tell him, don't do it, because he'll take that. It's kind of like when you're in the store and your mom goes, hey, Mark, don't touch that. All you want to do is touch it.
Yeah, for sure.
All you want to do. Instead of doing that, he goes, hey, you know what? I'm going to kill him.
And to go off what you said before, he's not going to tell him not to make it. Because if he tells him don't make Ultron, you know that Hank's going to make Ultron.
It's like a chance.
Yeah.
He said it doesn't come as like a, you know what, maybe I shouldn't. It comes as a challenge. Then.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also just the fact of like, oh, well, I can make him to where he won't do that. No. Don't trust that. Although maybe trust it later. But I think actually two things with this for not having everybody's favorite X-Man, Wolverine. It's okay to not have him because I don't think Marvel wants to do another complicated time story.
No, they don't.
And they really don't want to do Days of Future Past point. 2.0.
This reminded me of a little Days of Futures Past.
It did to me too. And that's what I would say for my thing.
Except Days of Futures Past was more of a, hey, this happened, and let's just throw, Nightcrawler and Dante's Inferno?
Yeah, that was great. And my favorite, when we had Kitty Pryde celebrating Christmas all by herself in the entire mansion, and a ghost comes to kill her.
It's more of a collection of stories.
Why are these things happening? Although the actual story itself, awesome. But yeah, so I don't think they want to do that. So I think they actually saved themselves a little bit from going with all the complications of having to do all these different timelines. And imagine, although it would be a cool throwback over to Spider-Man, having that awesome scene of alternate universe Spider-Man slinging his little webs in his cool
about
suit.
At the end, the black suit?
Yeah, he's got his black and red suit. It's awesome. And then Galactus popping out of the sky like, hey, Spider-Man. Like, wouldn't that be a cool way to just set up like their next movie?
Oh, yeah.
For Spider-Man?
That would have been a cool one, but no, they throw a curveball in this.
God. I don't think should we get to it yet, or should we save it? Because it's huge.
What I want to get to
moment.
first, because we got some other stuff to get to, I want to bring this up. I brought it up to you before the podcast.
Yes.
The funniest part of this entire book is at the very beginning when Cap's basically like, hey, you know what? Who else fucking lied and said that you're not a part of an organization, secret organization, when you are? And Spider-Man, being the Spider-Man guy he is, goes, well, I'm a level 27 rogue in World of Warcraft. Does that count? And it makes me laugh because Cap goes, he just looks around and goes, I don't get it.
No.
What is that? And one of the other Avengers is like, he's joking.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
And it kind of brings me up, and I was talking to one of our good friends, Dave. I think you said this too, but Dave said it. That's why he appreciates in the Marvel movies when they'll say something and Cap will go, I get that reference.
Yeah.
I get that one.
He's such a pretty boy, but man, is he dumb.
Well, he wasn't there. He was frozen for a while.
Still dumb. When you look that good, figure it out. All right? It's unfair to the rest of us. That's all I got to say. But yeah, so it's fun. And I think to kind of go early on with this, it starts off with I'm blanking on her name right now.
Spider-Woman.
Spider-Woman, that's right. Of course, Spider-Woman. Where she's kidnapped, stripped and kidnapped.
By the intelligentsia.
The intelligentsia are like, you know what? We've never seen a naked woman before, so this is our opportunity to do that.
Looking at them, I don't think they did.
No, I highly doubt it. Although I loved the moment where they have, like, they're revealing different intelligentsia, and there's Gorilla Grodd is there. Not Gorilla Grodd, but he looks like Gorilla Grodd.
That's what I thought too, and then I was like, wait, Grog is DC.
Because for a moment I'm like, it's Grog. Oh, wait a minute, that's not.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's just some random gorilla.
Random genius gorilla. Who knows where they got that idea from. But yeah, so she's stripped. She's there. The Avengers, of course, being the badasses they are, bust in. As said later on, because they're the Avengers, they get there just in the nick of time. And I love the moment where they're all like, we're so smart, we're great. And there's that great line, which I love, of Spider-Woman asks them something, and they go, oh, let's explain our entire evil plan to her right now. And the guy says, what? And he goes, that's a good idea, right? And he's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Like, they just had that moment of classic villain of like, I'm going to explain my entire plan, and then I'm going to get stopped.
It's even like in that one clip that they released for Age of Ultron, where
it kind of plays off
Ultron's talking to him, and he goes, oh, by the way, this is where I reveal our plan. Oh, and I gotcha.
Yeah.
And I'm going to pull you towards
I'm going to tell you my entire plan right now, but only he was smart and didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, he's Ultron.
Yeah, that's the point of Ultron. I want to say one thing, actually, I just thought of. Wouldn't it, I don't know, we'll see in the movie, but doesn't it kind of seem strange that Tony Stark would make a separate AI instead of just making Jarvis an AI?
Well, Jarvis is his own thing. Ultron.
Yeah, but I think, like, wouldn't you just improve upon Jarvis?
Ultron was supposed to be like it's kind of like what Hank said in this book. He was supposed to be like, what's the word I'm looking for? Advance.
Yeah.
Our possibilities, what humans can do. But
because he talks about the singularity, which is the combination between man and robot.
But instead, he says,
man and machine.
Wait a second, the world would be better without you chumps, and I'm just going to kill y'all.
I just think it's like, Tony Stark already has this robot thing going on. Why not just improve upon what you already have?
And you know what was the saddest part of the entire graphic novel? And
What's
it
that?
happened early, where Hawkeye, he saves Spider-Man, and he comes back to where all these Avengers are hanging out, and everyone's like, what are you doing? I told you if you leave, you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing back here? And he's like, hey, calm down, man. I saved him. I'm coming back. I'm Hawkeye. I can do what I want. Because Hawkeye's a cocky little bastard.
Yeah.
He is, if you haven't noticed. And it's just the one slide where Hawkeye's like, and whose fault is that? Tony Stark goes, he's working on it. And then you got Hawkeye, is that what you call it? And then you just pan over to a Captain America sitting against the wall with his knees up, head down, and it was like I just wanted to give good old Cap
He
a
needs a little
hug.
blanket over him.
I wanted to give him a hug, man. It's gonna be okay.
I almost wish
gonna
that
be
he
okay,
was
man.
in the fetal position sucking on his thumb a little bit, but that would have been a little much of Captain America.
Hey, man, I can put wings on my head and call myself Captain America.
You could. Well, like we're saying, go watch Daredevil. It's great. You're gonna love it. But yeah, it was, and also go listen to our episode for Daredevil: The Man Without Fear. It's the last one, guys. But yeah, it was awesome. I love the team that they put together, and they're kind of like, one thing I do appreciate, their plan. We're gonna sneak out. We're gonna take advantage of the fact that Ultron, for some reason, is trading, like he's working with these disgusting, filthy humans, of course, to use Ultron's words, and get them to bring the superheroes to him so that way he can take them and kill them. So they use that to their advantage, getting Cage and, of course, She-Hulk. Everybody loves She-Hulk. Getting them... I love how we have two different Hulks in this. Neither one is the real Hulk. But anyways, Red Hulk and She-Hulk.
No, we had the real Hulk.
I don't remember Real
when
Hulk.
the timeline got switched.
Oh, that doesn't count. That's not real Hulk.
No, because
that's alternate timeline Hulk.
Well,
Alt Hulk.
Well, that's my question, because Red Hulk in the mythology is General Ross, who's his daughter is the love affair for Bruce Banner, and it's like, okay. However, does Ross become Green Hulk, or is that Bruce Banner when it's Green Hulk? What's going on?
For you talking about the alternate timeline?
Yeah,
or just in general?
When that alternate timeline switches,
I had to be Bruce Banner.
was
right?
that Bruce Banner, or was that, okay, the Red Hulk became the Green Hulk? Because we never saw real Hulk.
No.
I think real Hulk was dead in the original timeline.
I would believe so, too. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand what...
Because I thought they mentioned that he died. They mentioned a lot of
Everybody
people
died. Everybody died, basically. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. But so Cage and She-Hulk, Lady Hulk, go over and realize that Vision is being like a conduit, essentially. It's not Ultron. Ultron is in the future using Vision to do all this, which is very interesting, very confusing. But that's when you had the moment of, oh man, we're gonna have some time stuff going on now. But I like that, and I think it's kind of cool, kind of interesting of just how deadly and powerful of a villain Ultron really is to the Marvel Universe. He is
how smart he
ultimate.
is.
Yeah, he's the ultimate weapon. He really is. I mean, there really isn't a good counter to him. They had to go through, and through this, you see just the lengths they have to go through to beat Ultron.
You know what also, and this is kind of a little off topic, just pop bubble. You know what else was a funny, it was one panel of this comic. It's when Black Panther, Taskmaster, and Red Hulk are together.
Yeah.
And Red Hulk says something to Taskmaster, and Taskmaster's like, hey, I'm doing the best I can, Dave. And Red Hulk's like, that's not my name. And he goes, well, you know what? I'm not calling you Red Hulk, so I decided to call you Dave. I'm like, really, Taskmaster?
I like going beyond that a little bit. Taskmaster, who not too long ago Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, Taskmaster was like the dude.
Yep.
He was the winner. And in this one, it was just, first of all, Black Panther killed
Red
easily.
Hulk smash.
Yeah, and Red Hulk just goes, yeah, I don't like you. I don't trust you. Boom, you got smashed.
Hulk smash.
Yeah, that was the end of it. It was like, Taskmaster, you were just a badass before. You were literally the last
Now you
hope.
were a little bitch.
Yeah, now you just got smashed by Red Hulk. Not even real Hulk you got smashed by. Okay, so yeah, we got to get to what the big thing is as it goes on. Is we have the the plan. All right, Ricky. The plan is developed by, of course, Captain Rogers. Not yet Colonel Rogers. We'll get to it. They're going to go forward in time and meet with Ultron and fight Ultron. Because that's going to go well. You're really going to go head-to-head with Ultron. Well, come on, let's be real here. That's why I'm so excited, too, to see what they do with the movie. Because without this time thing, how do you go head-to-head against Ultron? We're going to find out. Now, the genius that is Wolverine is much smarter and says, well, yeah, he's going to be waiting for us. He knows that we know whatever it is, he's going to be waiting, and you guys are not going to win this. The only way to possibly win is go back in time and cut off the hands of whoever developed Ultron being Hank.
Ant-Man.
Yeah. So we're going to do that instead, and everyone's like, no, we can't do that. That's not... There's a few people who are like, that's a good idea. But overall, people are like, no, you stop that, Logan. We're not going to do that. That is morally wrong.
And right there comes to my question that I'm going to ask you.
Yes.
You are in that position.
Yes.
And you are weighing you either go back in the future and fight Ultron head on, or you go and kill Ant-Man. What do you do? Because you got to think about this. And Tony Stark, I believe, brought it up, or it was Susan Storm. Somebody brought it up to Wolverine where, you know what? You kill Hank, you kill Vision. And Vision is, they even say there's like, without him, we lose before we even win a couple times.
Yeah.
Because he's almost the greatest Avenger of all time, they say.
And not even that of just, our good, he's a friend. You know, one of our fellow Avengers marries him. Like, he's a friend of
Scarlet
ours.
Witch.
Yeah. So you're going to do that. You're going to, not only is he a good ally, but dude, he's your friend. You're going to kill your friend. You're going to let your friend not exist. So with this being said, if my choice is go forward in time, fight Ultron, go back in time, prevent Ultron from existing, and of course we also need to mention the butterfly effect. For those of you who don't know what that is, step on a butterfly in the past, and it just that small little action affects the entire future, and everything has changed. So it's going to be a drastic change with that. I still think I would agree with Wolverine. The good of the many is going to outweigh the good of the few.
I would not kill him.
I would.
I wouldn't.
What would you do, Ricky?
I would seriously, and I'm a guy who I'm talking to Hank, and I'm going, hey, you know what? I'm being real serious with him at this point. I'm not saying like, oh, I can't tell you this. No, I'm going to tell you this. The world goes to crap. People die. Do you want that? And that's why I feel like the second time Wolverine does it, after he learns like, you know what? Killing him wasn't so good. I got to do this part deux. And he goes back. The virus thing, amazing. But just an amazing idea.
The thing I'll throw out
That's
there,
what they should have thought of at the beginning.
Well, that was Tony Stark's idea. Not only Tony Stark's idea, but alternate reality
Tony Stark.
So our Tony Stark would not have thought of it, and he didn't. So we had to have somebody else who went through a whole nother complete different set of circumstances.
And that Tony Stark, the one from the alternate reality, got ripped in half
ripped in pieces
by Ultron.
And he was a mess. Didn't have any hair, And
he got ripped in half.
But he didn't have any hair. And if we know anything about Iron Man and Tony Stark, is that he's got a beautiful head of hair.
And he was
also
blue.
Shame. He was blue. He looked like he was frozen. So that was not good.
They probably had to freeze him until they could figure out how to keep him alive.
Probably. And, in Asgard, they left. They were like, screw you guys in the alternate reality.
And it kind of seemed... Also, the Avengers weren't the Avengers. They were the Defenders.
Yeah, much better. I prefer the Defenders as the Avengers.
And you know what was kind of weird? Cap wasn't the leader in that. It was...
You mean Colonel?
Colonel.
Colonel.
Colonel America.
Yeah, Colonel America.
And he wasn't the leader. It was more of a, hey, wait a second. Tony Stark is our leader, with Xavier and Frost kind of as his telepathic lackeys.
But they were doing their own thing. That was a Stark Guard over there. It was Stark Guard doing their thing, the Defenders doing their thing.
But they were kind of the patsies, like, oh, okay, Defenders, you go do what you do. We'll call you when we need you.
It seemed to me that the Defenders and the Stark Guard were against each other, kind of. Like, they're living together, like, in peace, but at the same time, they're like, man, if we can get the upper hand, we're taking it. But to go back a little bit to the my criticism of what your idea is. Your idea is a little hindsighty. Of you would convince him because you're not going to convince him unless you have that key piece of information.
Yeah,
you won't
I know.
have
The
that key
reason
piece
why
of
I'm
information.
saying I don't want to kill him is because I don't know if I could say
You can't
no
stomach
vision.
it. I could.
Because I would be like, you would say greatest Avenger of all time, and I'd be like, yeah, we kind of need him.
If I'm Wolverine, I would say greatest superhero of all time.
What are you talking about, bub?
I literally can never die.
But Deadpool's better.
Well, Deadpool also can never die, and Deadpool figured out how to deal with somebody who can never die. Seriously, go back to previous episodes, guys. Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. You're gonna
Deadpool
love
can't die.
You're gonna love that. You're gonna love the last one we did, which was Daredevil.
You know how
all
I
good.
kill Wolverine?
You
I
leave
light
him in
on,
acid.
I light him on fire until he's almost dead, and then when his healing generator just start burning him.
You know what else?
So he never quite dies.
Which, of course, one of my favorite moments from the X-Men trilogy that we had, when it originally was just 3 movies, was that when they had that chick that, like, all the nails and stuff like that.
Yeah, the adamantium chick.
Yeah, the adamantium chick. I love how Hugh Jackman kills her by injecting her and filling her entire body with adamantium. And just being like, well, you're going to sit at the bottom of this little river now, or lake. I think it was a lake. You're going to sit there just covered in adamantium. You can't move anymore.
No, I thought he put her in, it was in the lab in like a thing of water. And she sunk to the bottom of it.
Yeah, but afterwards the whole dam got flooded. But that is very much, of course, like the Marvel universe being killed by Deadpool.
Yeah.
Same thing. But anyways, to get out of that, I mean, it is hard to get rid of that guy, but I'm thinking lose one guy, upset Scarlet Witch, who, if we're talking about the movie version, she's a babe, and I'm like, hell yeah, I'm getting in on that.
Which reality?
Welcome to your new husband.
Which reality would you rather live in? Mm-hmm. The one we saw at the beginning, or the one with Starkguard and the Defenders? Because if you kill him, you're going Starkguard Defenders.
I live longer in that one, so I'm going with that one. I will. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna live longer now, and it's kind of the if I know both of them, that's pretty nice. But man, that Ultron reality is not good. It's not pretty. Just getting vaporized.
You know what we forgot about?
Who?
What happened to Black Widow's eye?
Oh yeah, what did happen to her eye? Like, she has that moment where she's like, what was it? Where she's like, you didn't have to watch your family die, and then she like uncovers her eye, and it's disgusting and like ripped out, and it's like, okay, what does that have to do? What does one have to do with the other? And then it was like, what? And I kept waiting for the moment where it's explained. Maybe it was just like man, this life with Ultron sure does suck. We've had a lot of casualties. Some of us are eyes.
Maybe it got explained in the complete version.
I would bet it probably did. Or she, was like, this world is so bad, I can't imagine seeing all of it, so I only want to see half of it. And therefore, herself ripped out her eye because she didn't want to see the entire world. That's my bet. But yeah, so that was weird. I don't know where we were before that when we decided to talk about Scarlet Witch's eye. But I'm betting that Scarlett Johansson does not lose an eye in the movie. I'm betting that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So to talk about, which one I would rather pick? Definitely the one. Well, I definitely don't want the Ultron reality, which is our current one. So I'm going to deal with that, even with LaFay coming and killing everybody, and then we all die eventually, anyways. But here's a question I have to ask: when you're an artificial intelligence, I understand Ultron wanting to kill the humans. I get that. But why? Like, what does Ultron build? Like, what does he get out of, like, making this robot city of himself? You know what I mean? Like, what does an artificial intelligence get of building all these extra droids that just fly around to protect him, even though nobody is here to challenge him? Like, what is the purpose of that? Do you got a good answer for me? Because I have nothing.
He killed off humanity, and that's what he wanted to do.
But why? Why did you want to build a city for yourself that only you and your little droids that are you exist for?
It's Ultron. That's what he wanted.
Why? I just don't get it, Ultron. I need Ultron to come down here right now. I got an extra mic. He can come down here and explain it to me. I just don't get it.
I don't know. His voice may creep you out, man.
Yeah, it is weird. It's a little unsettling. It really is. Did you get any luck?
There's an article I see here from Marvel.com where they talk to Brian Michael Bendis, who's behind Age of Ultron.
Writer.
And one of the questions was, do you know why Black Widow has that scar? And his lengthy answer is, I'm just going to read it all. Not only do I have it in my head, but I have it all written out. I've laid it out. I've written all the stuff down and then decided it was unnecessary to the story I wanted to tell. I personally want to know why this happened, and literally her escaping a fiery Ultron death and losing an eye in the process. What you see is the end result. This woman escaped by the skin of her teeth. She is wounded, and that corrosion around her eye, she may be dying, like she may have a week to live. Who knows what horrible cancerous expletive is in the air? I mean, that's why we spend so much effort on these wide shots of the city. The air is pea soup green. Mm-hmm. There's something like a poison in the air.
And they say it at one point that the air is poisoned.
Yeah, so you know, even though she's not superhuman, she does have elements to her that are a little more than human. She's surviving a little bit better, but she's not going to survive much longer.
Although I will say, I'm pretty sure because she does make it. Well, I guess we skipped over this part. They go to Antarctica, the Savage Land, because that's where Fury has one of his little bunkers that has a teleportation thing. They don't know about the teleportation thing, but they just want to get to his bunker. She makes it to the bunker, right? Yeah, she does. I know that for a fact. That took 8 days. So she survived longer than a week. So Bendis, here you're underestimating.
You're talking about
her a little
at
bit.
the Savage Land, right?
Yeah.
When they get to the cave.
Yeah, it takes 8 days to get there.
Because when Red Hulk gets there, it's her, Moon Knight, and Red Hulk show up at the same time.
Yeah. So Bendis, you're underestimating your girl here. Come on, give her a little bit of credit.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I don't know. That was just something I was curious about.
You know what really threw me off in this?
What's that?
There were panels that in the corner of them said AR. Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
I wasn't sure if it was like a publisher thing or what it was. I really didn't know. I mean, it's on the cover too. But it wasn't on everything. I think it was only like 1 or 2 issues that had it.
Okay, because I saw it in like certain panels in the corner. I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I just figured it was like the publishing thing or something like that. I really was not sure. So yeah, like we said, Fury. They go back to Fury's thing. I guess that was something important to mention when we're talking about the story. So yeah, when they do go to, we got to mention, of course, Captain America, his group. When they go forward, they pretty much all die immediately, and they basically get there and they're like, oh well. Ultron did more than we thought he did. He really destroyed like everything and has this world. And then they're all immediately killed. Needs to be said. Are we missing anything right now in the story?
The ending. Let's get to that.
All right, the ending's huge, guys.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
They create an alternate, like basically there's a warning to Wolverine of like, oh, you can't go back and mess with things. And then there's another warning. You're messing with things too much. Stop messing with things in time. You're going to rip time and space. And Wolverine says, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyways. So, and he does. And what happens is the universe cannot take it. He literally rips the space-time continuum and everything is falling apart. We see alternate universes are created, new universes, whatever. And then finally, out of nowhere in the middle of space, there's like this weird ribbon or something that's cut, and this woman comes flying out, and she's got this giant head thing she's riding on, and she's like, I'm here, blah, 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 blah. I am Angela. What? Who's Angela? And I guess some people, I mean, we had to look her up. Neither one of us knew who she was. She was she was in Spawn. And that's about it.
How it was there was she was created by Neil Gaiman and author Neil Gaiman, artist Kyle McFarlane, and she was in McFarlane's Spawn first. She was in issue number 9, Spawn number 9, 1993.
Angela. Cool.
Then they had a legal battle. Gaiman won the rights to the character. In 2003, she was in Age of Ultron number 10, book 10. So
the end of the story.
And what they did was they introduced her at the Age of Ultron storyline, and her character was expanded up in 2014 in the original Sin storyline.
Which I would hope is what we're going into.
Where, if you don't know what that is, it was the The story features Nick Fury and the Avengers investigating the murder of Uatu the Watcher, only to suffer trauma from what they see in his eyes.
I just like
So that guy, the Watcher,
Yeah.
that we all know about,
we all know and love.
he dies, and they look into it, and that's when she's established as Thor's lost sister. And I'm looking at the genealogy right now. The way they have it set up is Thor is the son of Odin and Jord.
Mm-hmm.
But Odin's got 3 wives. He's got Jord,
Of course.
Grid,
Yeah.
and Frigga.
Get it
Where
on, man.
Odin and Frigga have a daughter, Angela, whose parentage was kept a secret until the 2014 miniseries,
yeah, it was-
Original Sin.
Until it was convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I just like, what the hell is like this? I felt like this was supposed to be really big, and I was like went back real quick. I'm like, did I miss something? Who is this woman? Where did she come
this
from?
just leads into Original Sin.
I guess so, but like it was just, I mean, it's such a Marvel current thing that they do of just everything is a cliffhanger. A movie can have a very definitive ending, and then we will make a cliffhanger. And I was just like, what is this? I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I was glad because
I feel ya,
I came in here and I was like, Ricky, what happened at the end? I don't get it.
When I first saw, like, the head kind of looked like Ultron, so I'm like, is that
Yeah,
Ultron?
it did kind of look. It also kind of had a similarity to in the Intelligentsia. There was that giant head that had little spider legs, which was gross. And I was like, is that what's coming back? Because that's a weird thing to throw back to. I don't know. I just didn't know.
I was like, is that Ultron? I don't really. And I mean, I'm looking at the collected editions on Wikipedia, and there is a Guardians of the Galaxy Angela. Maybe if we have read that,
Might have helped, maybe.
it would have, because that's Guardians of the Galaxy issues 4 through 10. Maybe that would have explained a couple things.
Although interesting thing, because and the one that I'm looking at on Amazon does not include that one. So,
It doesn't?
Yes, I mean I don't really know.
Well, it just says collected editions.
Yeah, I mean this is like one you
Yeah.
would get in a book. So it's interesting to see. I don't know exactly everything that should be included or not. Who really knows? One thing I kind of forgot to bring up, and I think is important for for the people listening who do like when we talk about the actual story.
Yeah.
Is that the way they finally decided to kill Ultron was with a timed release virus. So basically, once everything would go the same.
It was so smart.
It really was. And I love how it created, like, our universe could not come up with it.
No,
It
we
had to
couldn't.
be something from a different universe that came up with this. So they had this where they went, Hank got this in there. It was a timed release. He then forgot what happened. He had to forget everything that happened. So all of life would go exactly how it did. So nothing would change. No butterfly effect. Then when it became time, the
Sue
message,
Storm.
the message gets received. Of course, Sue Storm, who really had a great
She
role in
delivered
this.
it.
Yeah, she did everything in this. She did a great job. And she was helping out Wolverine, of course, earlier. I don't think we ever mentioned that. So good job on her part. But yeah, receives the message of like, hey, here's your instructions. This is what you need to do. And you need to do it right now. And it basically just conveniently placed everything at the right time, at the right moment for Ultron to actually be defeated. And pretty greatly defeated. I mean, he was so close to reversing it and helping himself.
How it worked is it was supposed to be while it was encoding, while he was fighting it, it's like, okay, it doesn't matter if he fights it off completely. While he's doing that, it was getting a virus into his system, and by the time he's like, oh, wait, this has happened, he couldn't help it. The virus was in there.
Just genius. Good job to alternate Tony Stark, the first alternate Tony Stark.
The one that got
another
ripped
one
in half?
Yeah, it's a blue-headed bald guy, Tony Stark,
Starkguard
Wolverine.
Tony. Starkguard Tony.
That's a good way to put it, Starkguard Tony. And to one of the Wolverines, because at one point there are two Wolverines and they fight each other. It's awesome.
I feel like the hashtag for this episode should be hashtag WTF Angela.
Yeah, who the fuck, Angela? What the fuck? Who are you? Or who the fuck in this case? Ricky, okay, we have an important moment coming up. Your favorite moment. What would you rank Age of Ultron? Give me a score. For those of you who like scores.
I want to say 3.
3. And this was your favorite of the kind of things we were talking about with the doomsday scenarios and stuff.
The only reason why it's a 3 is the ending.
I think you're being a little harsh then.
Well, the ending is, to me, like, okay, I feel like you're only throwing this in because you won the legal rights to this character, and it's like, okay, I want to introduce her. Mm-hmm. She had nothing to do with this entire story.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I think it's a very symptom of Marvel at the time we are. Because, I mean, oh man, how long have they been doing those little post-credit things? Since like 2008, maybe?
I don't know.
I really have no idea. That's just a random guess. Somebody at Mark Weber tweet me.
I'm looking at these last panels.
It feels just like one of those.
After, like, Ultron's defeated, you see these great panels. Like, Wolverine everything's, like, shifting, and Tony Stark is shifting, and it looks
those
like,
looked cool.
It looks like the panels are, like, the glass is cracking.
Mm-hmm. And that's something we didn't... The art in this, I love it.
Because
it really
everything
great.
is
so
just,
many great
like,
panels.
changing, and then it's, like, kind of a Big Bang thing, and poof. And then it's just, like, Tony Stark and Pym talking, and they're like, yeah, you know what? There's a rip. Yep, that happened. Then you see this alternate Spider-Man. He gets struck down. You see Galactus. And I'm like, oh, that's going to... Then
Is it bad?
I'm like, oh, this is where it's going to be. Just leave it there. And it's all about how the other universes get tied into each other. Then it goes back to Tony Stark and Pym. They talk a little bit, and then it's like someone else is talking. And then, boom, this Angela
shows
chick
up
with what looks like it could be Ultron's head, but it's probably not Ultron's head.
No, I would doubt it's Ultron's head, but it is a big, giant, gross, weird head. I don't know. I don't know, guys. If anybody knows, I would love to know. Ricky is at Ricky Widmer. I am at the Mark Weber, dubbed Emmys.
It just didn't make sense. What are you giving it?
It didn't. I am giving it a 4. I liked it a lot. I mean, it's not super great and special, but I mean, I really like some Wolverine focus. That's always enjoyable.
I do I like the story, and you could say I'm a little critical of the end, but
yeah, you're letting the end harp down on you a little too much, I think.
Yeah, it didn't like.
That's a bad taste in your mouth.
Well, it didn't end right. Mm-hmm. That's what it feels like to me. It did not end.
We have
right.
a lot of those that don't end right, I think.
Well, and it's just like. I just feel like they were trying to force this character into the story just so they can get her in because they won the legal rights. That's what it was. And it kind of ticks me off.
I think it's just like we have this thing with Marvel where Marvel's super into everything has to connect to each other. So they had this moment where like, all right, we're telling this story. Now let's throw this in here because then this is going to exist. What was it? Original Sin? Original Sin's going to be, it's going to start up soon. So let's connect these so that way people have this time. Like it's all this weird like interloping is not a word, but overlapping
that's
story.
That's a word.
But it's interesting to me. I give it a 4 though because it was really enjoyable. All the we get a little critical about time stuff sometimes, but I enjoyed everything they did with this one. The alternate realities and stuff were fun. It was fun to explore some of that stuff and see just what. No matter what, it sucked. Like, no matter what Wolverine was doing, it sucked until Tony Stark helped.
And you know what, my Amazon, one of the things that it says that I should read next?
What's that?
Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2, Angela.
Oh, yes, of course, Angela. And actually, Original Sin is up on mine. So it gives me that as an option, too, of like, hey.
Also, Avengers Age of Ultron.
You want some answers to your questions? Here you go, buddy. So... I think that's everything. Is there anything that we missed? I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
So, in 2 weeks, everybody, we're going to be reading The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Volume 1. London, 1898. The Victorian era draws to a close and the 20th century approaches. It is a time of great change and an age of stagnation. A period of chaste order and ignoble chaos. It is an era in need of champions in this amazing imaginative tale. So I'm excited for this one, kind of, sort of. I mean, the last experience I had with the League of Extraordinary, it was the movie, which was fine. It was a good movie.
Sean Connery.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the best thing of the movie. So I mean, it'll be nice to not be like a kid and experience the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen again. So that'll be exciting. If you guys, however, want to get that episode early, you want to get it next week instead of waiting 2 weeks, that's awesome. Go ahead and do that. Head over to patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcasts. And there are reward options there for you for anybody who wants to help support the show and support Most Valuable Podcasts all together. Ricky and I do a bunch of stuff, so why not help support if you liked it? If not, that's fine. Everything is still free. Also, of course, want to take a moment, twitch.tv/mostvaluablepodcasts. Anybody who likes games, we've been playing games on there, things like The Show, Dying Light, Bloodborne, all sorts of awesome stuff, and whatever,
Can't forget Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, of course, we were playing Call of Duty 2 Advanced Warfare. So whatever you guys want to hear or to watch us play, go there. You can watch us play it. Let us know at Most Valuable Pod. Ricky's at Ricky Widmer. I'm at the Mark Weber. Dub them E's. Until 2 weeks from now, when we read The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Volume 1, we will see you guys then.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast.